Hi, I am the creator of food, and this is just a collection of all the things that I've cooked, my more favorite ones on the list. My name is Genevieve, and I'm 22 years old this year. Some of you may know me from Food at the Source or Fats, the cafe that I opened up just in Block 72. And some of you might know me for the very famous, famous locally, MasterChef Singapore. So these two events were the biggest push for me to be on this stage today. So here's my story. So let's start at this exact location, NgeeAnnPolytechnic. Yes, I was an alumni here, and I was a very young, scruffy little kid who just got out of secondary school. I was so excited to go into Polytechnic. When I first arrived here, I went into my class, and they were all filled with science students. Yes, I enrolled into a biomedical science course. I did not go to any kind of culinary courses or even a food business related course. Why, you ask? It's because of very shallow reasons. I wanted to be a doctor. I wanted to have a stable and wealthy future ahead of me. But I didn't know what it took to actually have doctor written behind my name. It was definitely a lot of hard work that I did not anticipate. So of course, I went into the course that I had no interest or passion in. And no matter how many midnight oils I burned or how much effort I put into my studies, I just did not get to the grade that I wanted. I could not match up to any of my peers. And when I look back, it made sense. My classmates, they look at scientific papers or writings from scholars in their free time because that was their interest, that was their passion. For me, I scroll through probably food photos, food videos in my free time because that was what interests me. Just now when they asked you the question, who was very proud to be in their own course, I'm very glad that like 80% or 90% of you raise your hands. I'm not one of them. And for those people who are like me, I just want to tell you that marks doesn't define your smarts. And a number on the paper doesn't define how intelligent you are. No matter how hard you work, even though you don't get the grades, don't be down by it, because it just might mean that you're just not interested in the subject you're doing. So if you're in year one still, I would encourage you to get out. You should totally run away and go to a course that you really want. If you're in year 3, and I know some of you are having a common test now, and you're already at the end of the finishing line, I would encourage you to push on, just like I had, and I finished my 3 years. So I was very unsatisfied with my situation, and I didn't like waking up every day, going to school and studying the same things, and just not having fun. So what I did was, during my free time, when I went home, I would bake and cook. And I worked at several restaurants just to earn some pocket money. But that was also the turning point for me. I was working in this cafe once, and the boss was just starting out. I was opening the cafe with them. So their range of desserts was not complete. And they were open between 3 to 5. It's a tea break session. But they didn't have any desserts to sell. They had coffee, they had a barista, but no treats. So I jumped at the opportunity. I told the boss, please give me the chance to just bake something, and you can sell my products here. And I actually sold it at a very, very cheap price. But I just really wanted the opportunity and experience. And slowly but surely, I created a range of cakes. It was really slow at first, and we had to throw away a lot of samples because, there's a shelf life to this kind of foods. But because I was also working there, I got to see how it progressed. So from nobody buying my cakes to a few people. Then from the few people, they started talking and they started spreading. And that's how it happened. And slowly, my cakes was like selling off really fast. I couldn't even keep up with it. I was really happy. I was exhilarated. And to see the smile that I put on people's faces when they try my creations really, really boosted my confidence. Boosted it so much that when NgeeAnn created the startup campaign, Be Your Own Boss, I was like, okay, I'll go for it. What's there to lose? And so, fast forward maybe a few weeks later, I was opening my own cafe. Wow, it's really mind-boggling how fast things progress when you just put your mind to it. And so I opened up my own cafe in school. And during that time, I would say it was one of the hardest time in my life. Or even, okay, fine, hardest time in my poly days. Because I was struggling with final year projects, final year paper, both of which is from a course that I didn't like, remember? And also opening my cafe. That one, I like it a lot. So I was juggling all those. And to be very honest, I was very grateful to all the professors and teachers that I had because they were willing to understand my position. Even though I wasn't doing very well in my studies, they knew that my passion lies in baking and cooking. And they did all they could to just help me pass. They were like, just pass, just graduate, and you can do whatever you want. I was like, yes, I'm gonna do it. And so during this time, it was a very uncomfortable place for me to be in. I was forever stressed. I was like, there's always a problem, and there will always be a phone call, and I'll pick up that phone expecting a problem. And on those days there was no phone call, I'll be like, wait, are you serious? There's no problem today? And I get worried, and then I'll call them. So you see, my life was just full of worries during that time. The words here are really tiny. I don't know if any of you use Telegram. This is a strange planet meme or something. And the alien is trying to teach him how to eat vegetables, which all of you should actually eat vegetables. And they said that the point of this comic was that you have to live through uncomfortable situations to learn. And that was a very uncomfortable situation for me. And I learned a lot from it. So chase after your dream. Because despite what your parents say, and my parents were awesome parents, they say, you're very unique. Ever since I was young, they were like, you're very unique, you're very special. But when I was studying science, I didn't feel special. What made me feel special was when I took the chance and did something that I like. And that's when I was very different from my peers. And I did the things that I love. So dare to be different. Don't be scared of it. So, the second event would be MasterChef. This was like the most public version of my life. And, on set, it was like a dream every day. I felt like I was in an alternate universe. I got to see how camera works, all the movie magic that goes on behind. And learning that a 5-minute video actually takes a whole day to produce. I don't think most people will actually witness that. And in the competition, it's like a pressure cooker. And there is a lot of pressure. And I had my fair share of crying. If any of you saw the show, I cried a lot. It's embarrassing. But it's okay. Yeah. And even though it was super stressful, I managed to come out alive and come out pretty victorious because of the people that was surrounded me in the show. You see all these happy faces? They really are happy. There's no bad blood among us, despite what the media wants to have. We are all very loving, and we created like this big family. Not just the faces that you see on the screen, but also the faces behind the camera. But this is also the time where I learned a very, very important lesson. Coming out of the shoot, I was a bit of a pompous princess. I couldn't help it. But yes, I thought like I was the big deal, you know? And I became very egoistic, and I threw a lot of tantrum when things didn't go my way. And so it got to a point where my parents couldn't take it anymore, and they were like, sit down, I need to talk to you. And I listened to them because they are like my biggest advisor in my life. And so I kept listening to them, and I learned that I was going overboard. And those people who helped me during those times, they helped me out of their own inconvenience. And we must understand that those people have their own lives to live as well. It's not just me, 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 me. The support that the people around you give you is not your entitlement, but it's your privilege. So please cherish them. And so I learned that very important lesson to live in the moment and don't get lost in it. And when you actually have to follow this line, let me know, because I know you have gotten someplace in your life. So currently, I am in Culinary Institute of America. I'm living the dream. I'm being a chef. It was pretty fun. I'm already 1 year in. And I don't know, I can see that most of you here are quite competitive because you all love your course. So I don't know how the dynamics is like within your own peers. Maybe probably a bit competitive, always comparing your GPA scores, like, ooh, I got higher, but I'm not gonna tell you because I'm cool like that. Something like that, yeah. So just imagine that scenario, but with a room with people full of knives. It's gonna get bloody. I'm just kidding. No, we don't kill each other in school. We are actually very supportive. But at the same time, we all walked in, you know, with all our backgrounds, with all our stories, and we all walked in thinking we are the best. And for me, guilty as charged, I walked in and I was like, I'm Master Chef. You know, this is gonna be a breeze. And I couldn't be more wrong. Oh my gosh. So our hours are quite stressful. It's like 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. Very crazy. And you're like working non-stop, so you're physically and mentally tired. And if you keep up your egoistic, you know, or prideful kind of form, you'll never go far. Because everyone else around you, they don't like to talk to someone who is egoistic. They will want to share their own knowledge and skills only when they know that they can get something from you. So put down that ego and actually learn from others. And that was like the most important thing. So I feel that ego is the biggest killer for improvement. So really look around your peers and just talk to them more. Because I feel that some of us, we take the lack of confidence as ignorance. And we feel that if someone is not outspoken enough, it means that they don't know any better. That couldn't be more true. They have so many secrets that they will only share if you are willing to share. So talk to people more. I have a final analogy for you. Okay, so imagine that you are in a field of flowers. And some of them, they are very bright and big, like a sunflower. And others, more petite and conservative, like a bunch of ixoras. Do they look up, or do they grow and look left or right to see if they can outgrow the others? No, they don't. They only look up to the sun to get as much energy as they can, to absorb as much energy, and to grow even more. Because they know that they were born for a reason, and they were all born to their own unique paths and experiences. But of course, I have some bad news. Life is not a bed of roses. There will always be hardships like thunderstorms or droughts. And during those times, I really urge you to go back to your roots, because that is your foundation. And all the flowers beside you, they actually contribute to the soil beneath you. You know what keeps a soil strong? I know some science students here. I'll just explain. So the more roots there are in the soil, the stronger it will be. And you won't get washed away. as quickly as you were alone. So these are the flowers. They are your family, your friends, even people who are just passing by. Please cherish them and take notice of them, because they are the ones who build your strong foundation. So now, I'm challenging you to pursue your own passions. Thank you.